video, which I couldn't play for you guys because it's very graphic, but I took a screenshot from Stranger Than Fiction News. War crimes. Azov Nazis in Ukraine are killing civilians that attempt to flee Mariupol, according to reports. So the people there, they try to flee. These Nazi folks, Azov Ukrainians, are reportedly shooting their own people if they're trying to flee. And so another thing I noticed was the truth coming out from others about Russia. I thought this was interesting.
Here is a fact that America doesn't want black Africans to remember. Russia, Venezuela, Jamaica, Grenada at the time, and a few other countries stood with South Africa against apartheid. Bolivia, Nicaragua, a few more. But Russia was the only superpower that has never enslaved black people. Russia is the only superpower that did not raid Africa, didn't piggy bank Africa. All right? So that's just a little history lesson for you. A lot of people don't know this.
So amazing as folks continue to come out on the airwaves to share their truth. And then we have this from a family saying that soldiers from armed forces of Ukraine. So they're firing at targets in the residential neighborhood? And he goes, I don't quite understand. Yes, they targeted the city, the side over there, as well as the city center. Fire was coming from over there. You mean they were shelling their own city? But why? They were firing at their own people, says the father. You know what they did initially when they didn't have much weaponry here in our district? And he's sitting here with his, I believe it's his wife and daughter. The daughter looks really sad in case those are just listening in. They covered our district with artillery fire, claiming that the Russians were doing this. But we saw where the shells were coming from. We saw this and knew what was going on. We saw this with our own eyes. We did not sleep day or night. For almost 10 days, we lived under constant fire, and we saw where it was coming from. At first, they just shelled us for several days. For 2 or 3 days, they targeted residential neighborhoods specifically. Why? It was like they wanted to scrape the tops of the trees to force more people to converge on the city center. And now the wife says, or maybe to show the whole world images of Russia and the DPR killing civilians. So she's saying that they're going to shoot their own people and then they're going to blame it on the Russians to put out to the world. Yeah. They advanced from this side to create the impression that this was done by Russian troops. And the look on that daughter's face is something I remember. I remember seeing those type of eyes, folks, when I was involved in the 2004-2005, I believe, year when 250,000 people plus were killed in the tsunami. And I was flown down to Thailand overnight. And when I got into, I believe it was Indonesia, we flew into the airport. I remember seeing the children as they were debarking the planes after the massive amount of death and horror that they'd seen. They had no emotion on their face whatsoever, and that's what I'm seeing there. There's more to cover in a moment.